this sort of with Tullen, so we're going to do a webinar broadcast, and it will record, and then we're going to load it up to a AW2 YouTube channel, so that you can all go back later on if you want and find out the things that you forgot. So yeah, so where are we? Where's my mouse? Okay, so if we go to, so I've called it the BIM Jedi Masterclass. So we've got started off with 11 sessions, and we've themed them on the Star Wars series. So the first one is the Phantom shortcut. I keep losing my mouse. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, so ArchiCAD's pretty powerful, as I suppose you all understand. And so if it was a car, it would look something like that. So it'd be pretty. There's lots of stuff under the engine. You know, it's pretty powerful in what we can do with it. Unfortunately, most of us probably drive it as if it was this. Okay, so we're only using a fraction of the power and the functionality. So the idea of these courses is we want to get you up. We're not going to get into a Formula One car, but let's hope we can get you into something like this. Okay, so we can all work reasonably well and enjoy the power of ArchiCAD to help us model better and faster and extract more information out of the models that we're building. So there's hold on, lost my mouse. The schedule for the first 11 weeks that we've come up with, or that I've come up with so far, is here. It's coming. Oh, hold on, here we go. So we're going to start off with shortcuts today, how to use keyboard shortcuts. Then next we're going to have a look at the cloning folders and Navigator and everything like that. Oh, cool. Then we're going to look at the things that happen that we all sort of think, shit, what's happened there? Something's disappeared. I don't know where it's gone. How to find things, enter the steer builder, new steer builder. And then using some of the stuff in ArchiCAD that we don't tend to use very often, schedules and how they can help us, and how to import and export to Excel and use that to help us in our modeling. Then good modeling practices, graphic overrides, using external files. So IFCs are still being changed in ArchiCAD 21, so we'll look at better ways of working with them than what we've been doing. And then we'll get on to modules and hot links, zones, and down there is Celebri. So we'll look at, and then from there we'll extend into more difficult and in-depth areas of ArchiCAD. So if anyone's got any ideas along the way on things that bug you or you can't do or you can never work out, well, let us know, and we can start putting them into the system as well. So as I said, today we're going to do shortcuts. How many of you here actually drive ArchiCAD with two hands? One on the keyboard, one on your mouse. Okay, so you're using a lot of shortcuts or just some? Okay, because there's lots of them that I sort of watch some people using ArchiCAD, and we sort of take a lot of time moving around the screen finding the right thing, whereas if we can get in the habit of using shortcuts, after a while they become second nature, and your hands just running around the keyboard doing everything, and you don't need to worry about what you're doing so much. Shortcuts are sorry guys, what's going on here? Now it's like that old car, isn't it? Hold on, what have we got here? Oh, it's that license issue. Okay, shortcuts can be found, and so I'll do this in English so that both officers can fully understand. But shortcuts are found up here in options. Oh no, what is it? Work environment, keyboard shortcuts. So we can go in here and we can actually customize our keyboard shortcuts. So if the ones that we show you don't suit, or you want to make them easier, because some of them involve you stretching your hand sort of quite across this keyboard. So if you've got a small hand, it might be hard, so you can change them as you want. Oh, hold on, I've just got to... All right, I just forgot to do one thing here. Sorry guys, I'm just adding a shortcut to share the screen, but I think we're away now. Cool, so now we've got them sharing the screen. Okay, so shortcuts were here, so you can come in here and find out, new file. It's obviously Control-N, but you can just say something random down here, create a container that hasn't got a shortcut. It hasn't got shortcuts. Well, those ones haven't got shortcuts. So
usually on my own computer, I added a shortcut for is this hatchet thing that you see before on the top.
Oh yeah.
Because I like to use that a lot. Something
too, yeah.
That doesn't have a shortcut naturally.
No. Yeah, so this is where we go if you want to do, if you've got one that you want to use rather than K. Yeah.
Because that's like stretch things.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Yep. I actually use that one a lot. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So we can come in here and you can choose something, and you can go in here and change it or do whatever you want, and then save it out in here. And it's relative to your own keyboard, your own computer. Yeah. Oh no. And the thing is too, if you do go through and customize some of these shortcuts, and after a while you get lost or whatever, you can always go back and apply the standard shortcuts and start again if you want to do that, or just revert to standard shortcuts. Yes. Yep. It's relative to your system, not the file. So, and then once you've created it, you can then save it up in here in the as your own profile. So you could enter Nino's shortcut sort of thing, and then if someone else was using your computer and they was one of the normal stuff, they can come back to standard.
So that I can actually open it in any computer.
No, not that I know of. It's generally it'll be stuck in your preferences on this computer.
Standard profile that you have your own on top of that.
Yeah.
You don't have to mess up
The whole system. Yeah, and you can give it. For the profile, out of back in. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So. Yeah, actually, no, you can export the profiles. So export the profiles out of, say, this computer, save them somewhere, and then import them into. Yeah. So, and then if you want to find out what your shortcuts are, we can come down here and show the list, show shortcut list in the browser. Here's my mouse. And so it brings up this sort of screen here with, I don't know, hundreds of shortcuts. So there's all the customizable ones are up there, and the non-customizable ones are down here, so they're the ones that are set in the factory and you can't change. So I've actually uploaded and I've actually uploaded those here. So we've got the finished ones, so they're shared to anyone's down, and I've got these saved on our system if anyone wants to have a printout, or you can just go to print them out from your own system. Okay, so if we start with some sort of the simple ones, I'm not going to bother with like control the basic ones that are across most systems. So if we wanted to select, all columns, we've got Control A, so that selects everything. So either if you've chosen with the arrow, it'll select everything that's on the floor. Otherwise, you can go and just select, specific parts of the building. And again, if you have a marquee, you can then go in and Control A, and will only pick stuff in the marquee. So that's pretty handy for grabbing stuff and moving stuff and picking stuff up, especially if you want to make a global change on the height of something or color or something like that. Control F. Control F brings up the find and select box, and so you can then customize that, and you realize too that you can sort of do the old arrow, select other eyedropper and select something, and then take the parameters of that, and then so we can go add it's height here. And it should add, so all elements of a certain type, a certain height, a certain color, material, whatever. You've got flexibility in there to put in all sorts of parameters to find the specific things that you're looking for. Name of the object if you know what it is but you can't find it. Once you've got something selected too, you can where'd that go? View, zoom to the selection, and it'll zoom up that. So if you're in one of our big files and you need to find a particular little thing that you know you're looking for, it makes it very easy to go to the right place. Then there's the grouping one, so grabbing a whole lot of things. Control G will put them in a group. So then anything you do to them, they'll move together. If you've grabbed something and they're in a group and you only want to fix one of them up, change one of them, you can turn grouping off with Alt-G, change that one, and then when you turn grouping back on with Alt-G, they all stay the same, and then they will all act as they were before, so they still act as a group. We're having license issues with, and it locks up. Control G groups everything.
Yes.
Alt G doesn't release the grouping, but it allows you to edit. And then if you want to, and then Control Shift G undoes the grouping. Control Shift G. Yeah, I think it's generally Command Shift G or Command Shift in Mac. Yeah, so that's the other thing to remember is when I talk of being a PC user, when I talk of Control, it's Command, and Alt is that other, I don't even know what you call it on a Mac, option. Okay. No, you don't need to do that even. If we control group, if we now wanted to add that one in, we can just regroup. Control group again. Control group. Control G. You add it plus that. Yep. Yeah. So it goes. So when you control Alt G to go ungroup, it sort of steps back group at a time. So if you've got groups within groups, it goes back. Okay. So we'll go back to where we was. I don't. Not that I've noticed. No. So the next one is, I just assume you're all Control D. So when you drag, you've either got the option of clicking on there and dragging, which is reasonably simple, or just Control D as well and dragging. If you want to drag a copy, Control Shift D. Okay. And that'll drag a copy of whatever you've grabbed. And if you want to yeah. Control Shift M. Yeah. And then if you want to drag a lot of copies, Control Alt D, and then Control Alt D. Where do I go? Tell a lie. That's right. No. Drags it. Control D. I'm trying to get this one here to work. Control Shift. No, we won't worry about that one for now then. So that's that. So to rotate, we've got Control E. So grab a wall and we want to rotate it. So we just Control E, start at the start, and then around there. And again, are you all aware of the? I know I've seen some that didn't even realise that the Shift key locks you into set angles and stuff like that. So it's very handy for those. You want to come around to 90 degrees, you can quickly just Shift, and it will lock you to the nearest point. 30 degrees, 45, 22.5, and you can actually customise those as well. But I won't show you that for now. We'll do that later. That'll just move that around. And you can also then, when you're doing that, Control E, if you know the angle, you then just type in A and 25 degrees, and it will poke it in at the right angle. Yep. The commands are, I think, they are the same because I use them both on the same system, so it goes across all systems. Control M will mirror the get rid of that. So then if we want to so we'll Control M and then just start on your guide wherever you want to start and run your thing along, and it mirrors it. And Control Shift M will mirror a copy. If you want to lift something up, so we want to grab these, Control 9 gives you the option to raise the height of something. So Control 9 brings up this elevate box, and then you can type in there, 1 meter, and it will lift them all up. No, yeah, Command 9. Now, if you want to place a whole. So now we want to place like say a grid work of columns here. So we just go Control U, which brings up the multiply box, and then we've got all the options in the multiply box to increment, spread, distribute, whatever we want to do. So just say we want to spread those even on a matrix of say 4 by 4. We can then shift along here and again lock on your shift key and lock on your shift key going up, and it gives us all our new objects. What else next? One of my favorites, Control K. This is really good for when we bring in like PDFs and stuff that have lost their scale, and you can bring them up to the right size. But just say on this building here, we wanted to make it bigger. Again, Control K brings up the resize box. Define it graphically is probably the easiest generally, and then you can just go OK. Frozen. You can which elements you did want to, yeah, yep. Oh, come on. Oh, sorry guys, we're frozen up here again. Righto, so now we go to our start point and to the end point, and then we want to just bring that, you can even set a distance. So if we want to say now make that distance 50 meters, and bang, it will resize everything to that bigger building, except the group. Okay. Yep, so you can tell it what it affects. So you can say just the walls and the columns and the beams, or turn those off, turn the text off, and turn the arrows. Yep. And it doesn't change the group as such. So you need to.
You have to forget the.
Yeah. If they're not locked together, it's fine. But if they. Okay, so get out of that. So this one here is Control Dash. Yeah, Control Dash, I think you call it. Now, if we've just got, say, that one like that, and we go Control. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, that's right. So that's So if that will, that used to be Control on, I took it out. So Control Dash, negative, and then click on where it's going to go. So again, that one there, we can then bring that one back if we want to do it that way.
Sometimes if you want to kind of align it to something, and the part that you want to rest is shorter than the one that you want to eliminate, then I use the split.
Ah,
so
okay.
I can kind of choose the element and split it
where
I want it to, and just do it.
Yeah.
That's why I use a lot of split. Because it does the same thing, except that one is sometimes too.
So you're saying when it's like.
When it's.
Like that?
No. If you want to kind of keep this part and take out this longer part.
Okay.
Aligned here.
Yep.
Then you can't use the dash.
No, but you can just Control Cut. Yeah.
Yeah. But then sometimes that doesn't work because there's something else cutting it.
Oh yeah. You just got to know what's dictating. Yeah. Then we've got now that one. Sometimes they used to have a little icon on it, but they took it out in 20, and that's where you want to change a parameter, so a layer across multiple items that aren't on the same type of thing. When you change, say, like if you grab a wall, a column, and a floor, and you want to put them all on the same layer, but they're all on different layers, you can't just do it by grabbing them and opening them up, or grabbing them and changing it in there, because it will only change what's active for the last selected object. So if you go Control-Shift-T, it brings up this edit selection set. So here you can do a global change on all those objects. So if we now, or we can make them go red, so it should change all of the pen colors to all of those selected items to red. Okay, did that work? That's weird. Okay. Or we can change the layer, so we could put them on a hidden layer, and they should all, yeah, they should all disappear as a group. So Control-Shift-T. It's not up here anymore. No, unless it's in here. I've hardly ever used the menu in about 15 years, so half the time I don't even know what's in the menu. So it's Control-Shift-T. It's a handy one to remember because it is quite useful, that one. Here, yep. And the next one is just Control-T. So that will bring up the settings box rather than having to take your mouse up here and click on that. So just grab it and Control-T, and it brings up that you can make all your changes in there. And that works again like if you've got multiple columns. So if you've used, say, Control-A, selected all your columns, and Control-T, you can do a global change to all of your columns and stuff like that. So whatever you've selected. Another one is Control-Up arrow. Oh no, I'm on the top floor. I'll go down. Control-Down arrow, and that takes you down a story. Control-Up arrow takes you up a story. So you don't have to go across here and find a story, especially if you've got a big navigator and you're down the bottom or something and you've got to go and find it. So Control-Up and Control-Down. If we go into the layout book, say ground floor plan, and instead of having to go across here to choose your layout each time you want to move, there's a simple this one down here, and also Control Alt left and Alt right. So Alt right will take us down there, and Alt left will take us there. Alt left and Alt right, or Option left and Option right. Go back to our plan. Where are we? So Alt S, sometimes when you lose your mouse and it doesn't do what you want it to do, you've sometimes accidentally clicked Alt S and turned on the grid setting. So now we can just do a marquee from any point to any point, and it will see what is in there. But once you turn it on, it's that little dot in the background is where it's selecting from, and then it will only choose to another grid point. And that grid point's actually set up in the settings, in sort of the project preferences. You can tell it what sort of grid settings you want to operate on. I won't show that for now. What do we got next? Okay, so now if we want to just quickly switch to 3D view and we haven't got it open, we can shift F3, and that takes us into the 3D. That's perspective. And if we shift, sorry, was it? Shift F3. F3, yeah, function 3. Yeah, I've noticed that on this laptop as opposed to my desktop that, yeah, it's not quite as simple sometimes. And then Control F3 will give us to an axonometric view. So it'll take you to whatever your current axonometric settings are. So Shift F3 for perspective and Control F3 for axonometric. Gravity. Does everyone know about gravity? Not Newton's gravity, but ArchiCAD gravity. And how you can place objects on top of slabs, roofs, meshes, and something else. So it will pick the, like if you've got a roof and you want to put an element sort of halfway up it, you can turn gravity on and it will put the element on the roof. It won't stick it up here or down here, or then you've got to go and work out where it is. It'll fix that point. Yep. So if we go, we're on the top. So if I wanted to put, say, a column on this roof, and so Alt V brings on gravity, and that's this little weight thing up here, and it will, so it toggles it on and toggles it off, and then so we can here gravitate to roof, and then I've got that damn shift lock on. So it will now, if I go into 3D, so if we go Control F3, it will have put that column on the roof. So that works on the mesh and the slab as well. So if you've got like a floor or a place where the floor levels change, using gravity makes it really easy to put walls in place and furniture and stuff like that. So you don't have that situation where you come to look at your elevation or whatever and find that the desks are, 500 below floor level. I think it only applies where you place it. If we made that roof now 45. Oh, tell a lie. No, yeah, it does. Yeah, so it sticks with where the roof was at the first time as you place it. Yes, you can actually, but you need another toolbar showing, which is palette showing, which is where have you gone? Cool. Palette didn't come out. Hold on, window. Oh, hold on, it's jumped onto my screen. I'll come over here and grab it. Wasn't that one? It was the other one. Windows, palettes, control box. Actually, this is. No, they've actually taken it out of that. It used to be in this control, in this box here, and it would have something, and you could offset it. I'll need to look into that and find out. But you used to be able to, definitely. So if we also then go talking about gravity, shift, what did I say? V. turn gravity on first, which was Alt V. Oh, I see. Hold on, we have that element, and then yeah, down here it is. Sorry. So this is now Shift V, and it toggles between what we're wanting to put the gravity on. So at no gravity, to floor slab, to a roof, to a mesh, to a poly roof. So and then you can also set that then relative to these other points as well. But for all you really need to know is what you're setting it to, and then oh, it's not roof, that one there's roof. So you'll see good. Doing it. It used to work. It used to show you in the Z as you moved actually how high it was, but it seems to be turned off there. But when you grab the element, you can see what its Z parameter is. So that one's there, and then that one's 9532 9885. Gravity, and another one is measuring. So if you want to quickly measure between 2 points without having to put a dimension line, it is this tool here, but just pushing M turns on the measuring tape and gives you all the information there, so you don't have to take your mouse up to the screen and turn it on and come back down. That I've quite often worked, which was sort of probably old school way of checking distances, is setting your origin point somewhere. So if you wanted to check a few things and check that all the posts are in the right line, you can say, well, I'll set my origin point there with Alt Shift, and then that becomes 0, 0, and then you can just run your mouse along, and if you've got this coordinate box in the bottom showing, which I have on all the time, I find it real handy, you can quickly see that it's 4 meters out from there, and that one's 8 meters out, and that one's 4 meters out, 4 meters up. So you've sort of got that down there all the time, so you're not having to actually sometimes go and do the physical measure. That was in Windows, palettes, and it's the coordinates palette. And you can lock it into the screen down there, so it just stays there out of the way. Real handy. Next one is, where do we get to? Okay, so well, we've normally got the project origin marked somewhere anyway, so you can always, you'll know where that is, so you have to go back, but it does move it away and it stays there until you relocate it. Okay, now if you were, say, drawing a line or a wall, where are we, wall tool, and you wanted the wall to be a specific distance, turn that off. So you wanted the wall to be a specific distance, so you can shift to lock it, and then X, say 5 meters, and it will then stretch that wall up to 5 meters from where you started the thing. So you can do that with Y for the vertical position and angle as well. So you can sort of go, turn that gravity off. So we can start there, and if we know where we wanted to end that wall, we could actually go X is 3 meters and Y is 4 meters. If you have a point to go to. Come on. And it should put the end of that wall at that point. And another thing, Oh, come on. Another thing you can do with that X and Y command is if you're like taking an element to a place and you knew you had a set point that you were taking it to, say a corner of a building or something, but you wanted to extend a meter past that or something, you can drag your mouse along. Come on. You can drag your mouse along to the known point and then type X plus. No, plus X. No, sorry. X 500 plus will take it 500 mils past that point. Oh, come on. Yes. Yeah, so that one's done there. And then if we wanted to now, say, draw a wall along here, that we wanted to extend a meter past that wall, we would then just go X 1000 just plus, and it will take it to the right point. Same with Y and angle as well. So A works in the same way. What else? Next one is now if we wanted to just grab an area and have a look in 3D, it's generally just F5, and as you say, this keyboard's got a function, so it will take just the part that we've selected and show it. And then that works the same, you know, you've just got, like, not a marquee, but if you've just selected some objects, and F5 will show you those selected objects. 3D selection settings. So if you want to go and change your selection settings, Control Shift F3, and it brings up the perspective settings, so you can change between parallel and perspective and do whatever you want in there. And if you're in this one, if you want to actually quickly get the the view cone things out here, you can Alt click to center your view, and Shift click to set your viewpoint in that window, and then just operate it from there. F3, this one's function. F3 just opens the 3D window with basically the last settings that you had. So if you want to go back to your 3D view that you just had, you can quickly just F3 and it'll take you there. F3. Yep. You want to alter your story settings, do anything in there, so that's just Control 7, and it brings up your story settings box, and you can do whatever you want in there. Crops walls. Okay, so if we've got only a single plane roof, put a roof in here, and we'll put a wall through here. I'll just make sure they so make that wall taller. So if we want to grab that wall and trim it to the roof, we just Control 0 and brings up the crop to roof option, and bang, it will crop it to the roof. That operation doesn't stay with the roof like a Boolean operation. So it just, once you cut that wall, it stays like that. Change the roof and the wall stays the same. Yeah, although the Booleans use more memory. Yeah, so if you're not going to be changing much, it's a handy one. Yeah. Yep. And actually, the other thing too, yeah, and if you've got like one of those situations where you've got, say, another roof, lower pitch, 10 degrees going here, and we can just grab that wall and undo the. Oh, they've taken that away from there, haven't they? They now do that. Clear all connections. So if we've now got those three. Okay, so if you want, oh, I didn't do it. But if you want to now trim the bottom of that wall to this lower roof, you can grab the wall and the roof. This works both ways, up and down. And again, Control 0. And in fact, if we wanted to crop the top now to that roof instead of the big roof, you crop it and it will crop to that roof. So if you've got like a situation where you've got overlaying roofs and you want to just crop the wall to only one of them, you select the roof that's applicable and the walls and do it. You just push your Control 0.
So you've chosen the width of the wall, the cropping to
those two, yeah, to that. Amongst the things you've got selected. Yep. Go back to. Yeah, because I hadn't actually taken it away properly. They've changed the setting. It used to be in the tool area, but in the last version of one, they've taken it out, put it in that. Oh, come on. Yeah, and that right click. Yeah. Yep. So the next thing is, if you want to check your layer settings, Control L will bring up all your layers, so you can either turn off the layers and turn them on, or choose your combinations. Okay, so if we're in another area and we want to go back to our floor plan, F2 will take us back to the floor plan. F6 will take us to the last section we had used, and F7 will take us to the last layout. So if we go F7, it will take us back to that layout that we've got there. And okay, trace reference. We want to turn trace reference on or off. Alt F2 is it on and off. So you can see it up there toggling on and off. Now, if you want to grab the parameters of one particular item to transfer them to another, you understand the Alt click and just grab that, and then Control Alt click to. These are all the same, so it's going to change it. So if we change that wall to something else, and then just Alt click, Control Alt click, and it just transfers the parameters. Spacebar for the magic wand. So if you want to, say, you've got, where are we? Walls. I'll go to floor slab. So if we put a slab in here and we want to put walls around it, we can just actually just spacebar, click, and actually place our walls around it. So if you've got a room and you want to put a fill in it or a slab of some sort, you just use the spacebar, and it will, as long as the space is enclosed, it will fill it up with whatever you're wanting to put in it. Okay, so that's got on shortcuts today. So if you don't remember them all, they're on that work environment, keyboard shortcuts, and show shortcut list in browser, so you can retrieve them anytime. And I'll send you a link to the files that we've got saved, or send you the file that I've got saved so you can access that. So it's a really good practice to get into using the shortcuts. So if you're not, even if you're using some, try and work on a few others, add them to your repertoire, and then just try and, especially the things that you do a lot, you find that, I find why your hands want going around the keyboard when you're designing stuff, and just constantly flicking around. And after a while, your hands actually realize, they like typing normally, your hands know where the specific keys are, and you can quickly all saves that time of going up here and finding the thing that you want and coming back down and placing it, so it all becomes second nature. That's all then for today. So what I'm going to do now is we'll save this, upload it to YouTube. I'll send you the links to the YouTube channel as well, and then you can go and watch it again at your leisure if you need to work anything out. So thank you guys in Tallinn and Paris, and we'll see you next week.